And here we are at the island of Kauai in the Hawaiian Islands. In the small town of Poipu, I guess. Never been to Hawaii ever. Wanted to do it like for 35 years. Always too cheap to do it. Now there's 5 of us who came down as a group. And this is absolute paradise, I must say. Heading down to the beach to get the golden hour, see if I get some nice shots. But man, what are we doing living in Alberta, Canada? Oh my goodness. Yeah, the biggest thing here is the humidity. The humidity is quite high. It's kind of a little bit hard to get used to. I've given quite a bit of thought to RVing down here. I mean, you could snowbird down here for 3 or 4 months. Places are very expensive, like these condos here. Cheapest one is, I don't know, 550 grand plus your fees. Property, I mean, just to buy a 1/4 acre, if you can find one, is $400,000 US, so that's another 30% on top of our money. So really kind of unaffordable to buy here. But you could RV here, although I've only seen 3 RVs. We've been here for a week. And I saw a Pleasureway, a Westphalia, someone living out of a van for sure. But yeah, there's just no real RV spots for the big RVs, right? You have to go more stealth, more small. And a lot of these little roads, little tourist places that you'd go to, like they're so congested, so tight, the parking. If you had anything over 18, 19 feet, you're having a hard time, you know, getting around, turning around. But yeah, so you'd have to be stealth here for sure. But that's the way to do it. So being a foreigner though, I mean, there's a whole other thing of trying to buy a vehicle and insure it here. Yeah, I was thinking about, you know, what would it cost to ship a vehicle over here? You know, the Jeep or maybe the camper van. The Jeep would fit inside of a sea-can container. I think it would be about $4 grand to ship over. The camper van being 10 feet tall, that's going to cost quite a bit more. I think you have to go on top of the sea cans, and then you got to find a place to keep it and everything else. But look at where I'm at here. Oh my goodness, just spectacular. If you didn't need the 4x4 so much, which is kind of important over here really, I think in Hawaii, you could buy a vehicle for 4 or 5 grand and then, you know, when you're done with it, sell it. But something to consider anyhow. This is just so fantastic here. Wow, I'm just blown away. One thing people have said is the price of food over here is pretty expensive, and boy, is there sticker shock on that too. Well, I guess if you have to bring everything in by boat, it's going to cost a fair bit of money. This is one of the more laid-back islands. It's more, they say, I guess laid-back is the best way to say it. I mean, it's not commercialized like the other islands, apparently. We've kind of driven around most of it, around the south, west, and north side. We're going to be going over to the, or east side, sorry. We're going to be going over to the west side tomorrow. Checking that out. Always looking at it from an RV perspective. Where can I camp? As I mentioned in a previous video, the idea was to go down to Arizona this winter. Plan was to work from August till November and then go down there, but I haven't been working actually during that time, and I've been spending a lot of time just getting rid of stuff, really. Sold the Tundra, the Black Hole, sold my motorbike. I got another smaller motorbike actually, dirt bike again. Sold the horse trailer, sold downhill mountain bikes, just there's a whole list of things that we got rid of, audio gear and whatnot. and so it's been kind of an important time to downsize and everything. But that means that the trip down to Arizona is not going to happen this year, so oh well, we'll see what happens next time. Glad to be able to go down to the Hawaiian Islands here finally. Wanted to do it back in the 70s when my brother had gone over there, and thought, boy, that'd be great to do. Just life, you know, is busy and gets in the way. So here comes our little friend. Checking out the food situation here, seeing if there's anything to be had. Yeah, sitting in a desert with the wind blowing and everything else, and instead of being in Hawaii, I don't know. Hawaii is certainly a harder trip to make, especially getting an RV over here. And the cost of living is pretty high, of course. But myself, I'd much rather be in Hawaii. Even with that rooster. So let me know if any of you folks have RV'd in the Hawaiian Islands and how it's worked out for you. Any kind of tips or tricks, or you know, what the scene is like. I asked the locals whether the police are really hard on the situation. I don't think it is. You know, they didn't seem to think so. If you had a big, you know, monster Class C and you're parking it in the street, so yeah, you're gonna have trouble. But if you have anything, you know, smaller, well, van or even a Class B, you could probably get away with a whole bunch of stuff, I think. I guess the biggest thing is not getting the locals upset. But yeah, any tips and tricks if you guys have done this, I'd be appreciated. Actually, another way to go, and it's something I've considered here, is just renting a vehicle and living out of it. We rented a Yukon. It's kind of like a Suburban or whatever. But there's a lot of room in that thing. You could easily sleep in the back of that. Although the cost is costing us $430 for 11 days. So I don't know if you can negotiate a better deal. Like if you could do it for like $500-600 a month, you know, that'd be quite a thing to do, I think. Although you always have the risk of smashing up a rental vehicle, and that could be very expensive. There's tons of Jeeps out here. I mean, I've never seen so many silver Jeeps like ours. I mean, there's just hundreds of them, it seems like. Really, a Jeep is what you would need out here if you wanted to do anything. Because quickly, once you go off the pavement, then you're into this lava rock stuff or whatever, and it can be kind of gnarly. But that's another option, is to, if you're going to do it for a couple months, maybe you could rent. The condo that we're renting, I think, is around $230 a day. And that's off season, and almost like we're at the end of November, beginning of December. So not quite off season, but we get a better deal for sure. And that's a nice, it can sleep 6 people actually, with 2 bathrooms and a kitchen. But as nice as that is, it's still kind of fairly costly too. Plus also, you know, the RV thing is, you know, you have all that mobility. You have mobility anyhow as we're doing it now, but you can lower your costs for sure. Yeah, all these things. Well, made it back to Canada in one piece. It was really tough to go home, didn't want to go home, especially given the 40-degree difference Celsius in temperature. I thought it would just be absolutely a bone-shocking chill to go back, but you know, wasn't that bad. I guess I'm fairly acclimated after all these years. But yeah, so back in my little office here. The place where I get things done. Yeah, so what's my takeaway? Yeah, definitely I'd go to Hawaii again for sure. You know, you could do it, try and do the RV thing. Being a foreigner though, it's a lot harder though to try and get a vehicle situated. Oh, I could absolutely see just doing it from a backpack for a couple months. And who knows, you go with a backpack and who knows who you might meet up with or where you might stay or whatnot. The 2 negative things about Hawaii, everything else is pretty positive except for the high cost. But the you know, like the humidity is one thing. Even though the relative humidity was the same back in Canada as Hawaii, it was some, you know, 75-80%, something like that when I measured it. or checked it, and just the air over there is a lot harder to breathe. It's a heaviness, I guess you'd say. Coming back to Canada, it's like it's just free and zippy, and you know, just a lot easier to breathe, really. Not that I have any breathing problems so much. I mean, I'm just a normal person, but that's just what I noticed over there as far as that goes. Those roosters have to go, man. I don't know, like, I mean, those roosters, you know, clicking off at 5 in the morning, that's pretty tough. I don't want that, especially, you know, given the time difference that we were dealing with. But overall, no, definitely doable. When we were there, we went to the Hyatt. They had some free entertainment. They have a beautiful facility there, like just breathtaking. And there was a band, duo actually. They used to travel with Cirque du Soleil for 10 years, and they're really good. So I'm going to end with them playing, and then I'll kind of throw in some shots and different video and whatnot. So aloha, you got to go.